guys, what is going on? It's the Captain, back on the YouTube grind once again, and today what I have for you is the best tips and tricks for hardcore game modes in Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now, for those of you who are new to my channel, and for those of you who are returning to my channel, you know as well as I do, I consider myself a pretty darn good hardcore player in Call of Duty. And for those of you who are not familiar with Call of Duty, maybe it's because the health and core is 150, or you just haven't played hardcore before. Hardcore is all about Twitch reaction time. It's all about Twitch shooter. So hopefully you guys can take these tips and tricks and apply them and implement them into your hardcore game modes. Now, if you do not have good reaction time, I do not suggest hardcore unless you're just going to sit back and camp. Maybe play a little passive, maybe control an area of the map. But for those of you who want to rush, run and gun, get up in the enemy spawn, if you don't have good reaction time, I do not suggest hardcore. So like I said, hopefully these tips and tricks that I give you will help you. Let me know in the comment section if they do. Let me know in the comment section if they don't. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. The first tip I have for you guys is movement. Guys, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 is a fast-paced game. It's nothing like Call of Duty World War II. If you want to succeed in Call of Duty Black Ops 4, whether it's hardcore or core, you want to make sure that your movement is on point. Whether it's getting around the map, getting into the objective, getting into the enemy spawn, whatever you want to do, you want to make sure that your movement is on key. For example, if you guys catch out my live streams or in, prior past videos, you guys will notice that when I'm playing something like Kill Confirmed, I will slide into a tag only because it makes me a smaller target and it'll catch the enemies off guard. They won't expect me sliding into the tag. They'll expect me running into it like most people do. I don't really see many people slide into a tag. And in hardcore, you never want to stand still. I don't care what you're doing. If you get 1 or 2 or 3 kills, don't stand still. Always move on. Always be on the move. You want to make sure that you're always keeping yourself on the move, going around the map, going into the spawn, going into a new area. Never stand still. If you stand still, hardcore is a one-shot death. You're gonna die in one shot, especially if you're using something like an assault rifle or an LMG. Don't stand still. Make yourself a moving target. That is probably the most important tip that I can give you, is always be on the move, always be on the move around the map, and never stand still. And another tip I have for you that involves movement is jump shotting. Yes, you can jump shot in hardcore. You will see in the gameplay in the background that I jump shot often. That's one of the things I do that makes me stand out. I don't want to go into a gunfight 50-50. If I'm getting into a gunfight, I want to make myself more reliable. I want to give myself an advantage in the gunfight, and that's why I jump shot. So if you guys do not jump shot, try implementing that into your playstyle. You guys can do it in bots. You guys can do it in a custom game. Try and implement it into your playstyle. The second tip I have for you is something that I won't talk a lot about, but is very important, and that is learning to play on a high sensitivity. If you play on a high sensitivity, that is going to, it's going to make your reaction time a little bit more. You're not going to be sluggish. You're not going to be lacking. If you go to aim, it's not going to be slow trying to track down a target or lock onto a target. Learn to play on a sensitivity. That is rolled right into the movement. If you play on high sensitivity, everything's going to feel right to you. You're going to be able to move around the map and move your gun as quick as possible. So learn to play on a high sensitivity. Kind of train yourself. I have a video on my channel about learning how to play on a sensitivity, finding the right sensitivity for you. If you just go into a custom game with bots and just, keep putting your sensitivity up and up and up, you're going to learn how to play on it, and you're going to be more consistent on that high sensitivity. The next tip I have for you is having the correct class setup. When you're playing game modes like hardcore, you really got to differ it from core. Meaning, if you're playing hardcore, if you're using like an SMG, you don't really need quick draw. If you're using an SMG or an assault rifle, you do not need suppressor. In hardcore, the chances of a UAV being up all the time in a single game, unless you're playing a party of 6, is slim to none. And if you have a guy or yourself is rocking a launcher where you can knock down the UAV, you don't need suppressor because there's going to be no minimap. Also, when you're running a class, make sure you have the right perks set up. The same thing with Suppressor. You do not need Ghost. You know, if they're not putting up UAVs or you're shooting them down or you have a teammate that's shooting them down, you don't need Ghost. You do not need to waste a perk slot with Ghost. However, Dead Silence is key. Dead Silence will keep you silent. It will keep your footsteps silent. So make sure you guys are using the correct class. Make sure you guys are using the correct perks. If you're using something like an SMG, make sure you stick to close quarter combat. And if you're using something like an assault rifle, don't try and go one-on-one in a small gun range fight, because if they're using an SMG and you're using an assault rifle, they're going to pull up the gun faster because they're using an SMG. So make sure you guys are using the correct class setup and the correct perk setup. And the last tip I have for you is fundamentals, and that is focusing, checking your corners, pre-aiming, and predicting. You want to be able to focus. Try and get everything out of your head when you're playing the game. Focus on just the game itself. You will do better, I promise you that. And checking your corners. Everyone knows that hardcore is full of campers. It's no secret. Hardcore is probably the biggest game mode that campers go in and play. So check your corners. They could be anywhere. Nothing makes me mad, and I'm sure most of you gets you mad than getting killed off of the street by a guy camping in the corner. So make sure you check your corners, and a good way to do that is pre-aiming. When you're going into a new area, I like to jump shot and pre-aim. I like to mix them in both, but you can, if you don't jump shot, then just pre-aim. When you're going into a new area, especially when you know that most enemies are going to be, or when you think enemies are going to be, pre-aim. And if you have to, pre-fire. And the last thing is predict. Predict where the enemies are going to be. Predict where the spawns are going to be. Predict where they're going to be. It's that simple. If you look at the kill feed, if you know where your teammates are, you can predict the spawns and you can predict where the enemies are going to be. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. For those of you who are new to my channel, if you want a one-on-one lesson, you don't have to pay for anything. I don't take donations, and all my revenue goes to the TSAA, the Tourette Syndrome Association of America. So make sure you guys hit me up. Follow me on Twitter. You guys know what to do. As always, guys, keep on grinding.
I know I'ma get it.